You sit down for your organic chemistry at 4 p.m. Then you blink and it's 9 p.m. and you're deep in a Wikipedia hole about the Kardashians and you've done zero work. If you have ADHD, standard time management advice isn't just unhelpful, it's actually you gaslighting yourself. So today we're diagnosing why the Premed God schedule fails us, and we're prescribing a new system that actually works. Hey, and welcome back to my channel. My name is alanood, and today we're gonna have a Swahili session, or talk session in English. If there's one thing Premed culture is so obsessed with, it's the aesthetic of suffering. You know what I mean? The 5 a.m. wake up schedule, the color-coded planner that looks like a Van Gogh painting, the idea that if you're not exhausted, you're not trying hard enough. For the longest time, I tried to force my brain into that box. I watched videos on how to organize your life and felt broken when I couldn't actually apply that advice and couldn't actually stick to those rigid hourly blocks I've set up. But recently, I was watching this video about making time, and I realized something crucial. We don't need to make more time. We need a different relationship with energy. We need a medical diagnosis why our time disappears and a prescription that respects our neurology. So today, we're throwing out that rigid schedule, just like out this window. Instead, we're gonna talk about two concepts that saved my semester, and they are the dopamine menu and the energy floors. So let's start with the diagnosis. To cure anything, we need to know what it is. Why does a neurotypical student spend 1 hour on a lab report while we spend 5 worrying about the lab report and then 20 minutes to actually finish it? It comes down to two things that we suffer with. The first one is time blindness. To the ADHD brain, time is not linear. It's like abstract, I would say. It's fluid. It's the chaotic mess that it is. Time is chaotic, and our brain actually comprehends it, not like the neurotypical brain. We have only 2 time zones, which is like now and not now, which is how time actually works. When I sit down to study, I honestly believe I can memorize 50 anatomy flashcards in 10 minutes. My brain lacks the internal clock to measure how much time actually a task takes. So when I plan something and like I pack 15 things to do, and then when I inevitably do only 3 because I didn't comprehend time right, I crash and I feel like a failure because I didn't do the 15 tasks I thought I could. And then this will lead you to the second symptom, or the second thing we deal with, and it's called the wall of awful. This concept means that every time you fail, you add a brick of guilt onto the wall. Eventually, simple tasks like maybe taking the trash out, or like open canvas, like B courses for us here in Berkeley, or start a problem set, becomes surrounded by this huge massive wall. And this wall is an emotional barrier. It's a wall created by our emotions. But to be able to scale this wall, we need dopamine. But here's the trap. Usually we try to get that dopamine from the wrong source. We turn to what we call brain rot. We scroll TikTok, we check Instagram, we reorganize our desk that we reorganized like 20 times this week. We're thinking we need a break, but we actually aren't taking a break. We're just numbing ourselves. So the diagnosis is clear. We are suffering from a dopamine deficiency that leads us to time blindness and emotional paralysis. So now let's write prescription. First of all, we have, if our brain is constantly trying to get dopamine and trying to get stimulation, we can't just tell our brain to stop. ADHD is a dopamine deficiency disorder. We need the dopamine. We need to feed it dopamine, but we need to feed it nutritional food, not junk food. So this is where the dopamine menu comes in. Think of it as a diet for your focus. When you are tired or bored and you're craving fast food with dopamine, which is Instagram, TikTok, and general brain rot, it feels good for a second. I love brain rot, like don't get me wrong. It makes you feel good for a second, but it leaves you feeling blurry and groggy after it and more tired than before. It creates this like hangover. It's like you drank last night and then you're waking up and trying to study. That's never gonna work. So instead, we need to meal prep for our brain. And these are high stimulation activities that actually recharge our brain, which will help us transition to actually working. So I write a menu for myself. It's like the name, a dopamine menu. We write a menu. This menu has appetizers, entrees, slides. Appetizers are about 5 to 10 minute tasks, and you do them between classes, you know? Instead of scrolling, which will suck you into a vortex, you do something physical or tactile, like do 20 jumping jacks, water my plants, or play with a fidget toy while listening to one specific song. And this gives me a hit of dopamine without scrolling. Entrees is when I really need deep recharge. This is my productive calm. I watch a day in a life of a surgeon video. It's stimulating, it reminds me of my goal, but it's passive. Reorganize my Anki deck settings. It's technical, it's engaging, but it's not draining. Another thing we have are sides, which are things that I can add to a boring task to make it feel better and make it more palatable. And it's like listening to brown noise, or listening to Mario Kart music, or listening to Crazy Frog. I don't know, whatever hits your brain. And for something, using a specific pen that will make you feel something, or like make you feel good about writing, or using a blackboard that has some friction that just gives you that, or like eating some crunchy food that just gives you like that little bit of dopamine. You just need enough like those sides things just to keep you doing what you're already doing. When you feel the urge to procrastinate, don't rely on willpower, because willpower is finite. It's a finite resource. Instead, look at your menu. Ask, am I hungry for stimulation? If I am, let's pick a nutritional option and swap from brain rot to brain food. Prescription B. Now, how do we structure the day without the rigid planner that mocks us, or that we throw out after just writing one page, or sticking, I would say, for a good 3 weeks and then just throwing it out the window? We need energy floors and ceilings. Traditional advice says plan your ideal day. That's a trap. That just literally sets you up for failure, because it assumes you will wake up with 100% battery. You won't. You are human, regardless if you're neurotypical or not. You won't wake up with 100% battery. Instead, you want to define your energy floor. This is your minimum viable day. If everything goes wrong, if you have a migraine, you just slept for 3 hours, and you have bad ADHD paralysis, what is the bare minimum that you have to do to keep up with your work or to keep up with school so you don't feel like a failure, or you don't fail? That's for me is just doing my homework. Nothing else, just doing what is due today. That's, for example, my minimum viable day. Just go to classes and do the homework. That's all it is. And also drink water, which I've been trying to do that more recently. That's it. If I do those things, even if I don't do anything else, my day is still a pass. I didn't fail the class. Yes, I didn't get an A+, but I didn't fail. This removes the guilt. And ironically, once I start the floor tasks, it just makes me want to do the other task and gives me enough momentum to just continue by my day, because I only committed to the floor and I've done the floor. I got the dopamine from the floor. Then you have the energy ceiling. A hyperfocus is a superpower. I always say this. It's a superpower. Normal people don't have this, but we do. We have the power to just focus, but it's also dangerous. We tend to work until we collapse. We burn out when we pull an all-nighter because we have that actual feeling that we actually feel focused, and then we are useless for the next 3 days. Your ceiling is a hard stop. It is a boundary you set to protect your future self. For me, my ceiling is, for example, 10 p.m. No matter how in the zone I am, or I am so motivated, I can actually dominate in the world. I stop complex studying. I stop working. I switch to just passive viewing, so rewatching lectures or reading. Why? Because I burn out my neurotransmitters. Tonight, I am borrowing energy from tomorrow. Look at it as you're spending money. You have $1,000 cash. If you go over that $1,000, you're using the $1,000 from tomorrow, and then from the day after, and then. And the interest rate is terrible, because the time you spend today is gonna double or triple tomorrow. So imagine you're borrowing 100, it's gonna be 300 from tomorrow. The interest rate, bad. So by operating between the floor and the ceiling, you create consistently. And in medical school admissions, consistently beats intensity every time. They don't want to see those huge, like if you're a solid A- student, you're fine. If you're an A+ in one semester and a C- in another semester, that's a B average. And no, that's not gonna get you into med school. Yes, sometimes we have hiccups. Yes, I'm not saying that you can't. can't do it. I'm just saying consistently beats intensity. It's better to study 2 hours a day than to study 10 once a week and then crash. You just do the math. That's already 14 hours. That's more than 10 hours that you're gonna do and crash for the week. So be consistent. Don't be intense, I guess. So here's the takeaway. Your brain is not broken. You're not bad at being pre-med. You're not bad at being a pre-med student. You're just trying to run a specialized operating system on a manual written for a different machine and a different computer. Stop trying to bully yourself into productivity. Stop shaming yourself into studying. It doesn't work and it actually hurts you. Try the dopamine menu. Swap the scroll for something that actually feeds your brain. Define your floors and give permission to just have low energy days, because it happens to us. It happens to the best of us. And that's what you need. You need to slow down before you go faster so you don't burn out before you even reach your white coat ceremony. You are capable of being an amazing doctor and an amazing scientist or whatever you want, because our brain is wonderful. It's amazing, and it's our ability to pivot, our ability to be so empathetic and so observant, and we can hyper focus forever. That's amazing. It's amazing. We're not doing it as a spite of it. We're doing it with it because we have amazing brains. If you found this helpful, or if you have your own brain food suggestions, drop them in the comments below. I'm always looking for new ideas to actually add to my menu, so tell us below. Hopefully you can use these strategies, put them into practice, and make a change. Make a difference in your life and in the world. It's not always going to be perfect. You will fail sometimes. I fail all the time. It's a struggle. We're always going to struggle. But if you persevere and you don't blame yourself, it's going to make all the difference in the world. It can really make a huge impact. Thank you so much for listening to my video today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please watch my last video about how to be so productive that it feels illegal. And again, I hope you found something very useful today. Please share, like, and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye-bye.